Hello and welcome to Cash Chats, the podcast from BeCleverWithYourCash.com that helps you make the most of your money. I'm Andy Webb.
And I'm Amelia Murray. Some of the stories we're looking at in Your Money this week today are Christmas dinner inflation, how much more you could pay for your festive feast, energy firms told to cut standing charges to zero, and what to do if you think you've been caught up in the car loan scandal. Plus, our deals of the week, including how to get money off IKEA when you wear your Christmassy best, and free Disney Plus with Uber One. All that and so much more. It's episode 443 of Cash Chats. So Andy, what's been going on with your money this week?
So I've got a couple of savings accounts that I set up. So regular savers, you know, I'm a big fan of these, paying a high rate of interest. Well, one of them matured. So the first direct one runs for 12 months. That's just finished. It took a few days for me to be able to open up a new one, but I've done that now. So I've locked in at 7% for another 12 months, which is great. Definitely worth everyone having a look at that, because all the rate cuts that have been happening right now, I wouldn't be surprised if these regular savers start to come down as well. So I'm locked in for a year there. But also the NatWest regular saver. Now that one is a bit different to the others because it lasts until you reach £5,000 of savings. The problem is the most you can put in every month is 150 quid. So it takes a long time. So for years and years and years and years, I've been putting 150 quid in each year. And it was this month that I finally went over that £5,000 limit. So I've stopped that. I've stopped putting my standing order into that account every single month. Made sure that a note in my diary that when the interest is paid, I take it out, I withdraw it and pay it somewhere else so it can earn a higher rate of interest elsewhere. And I've set up instead the same regular saver, but at RBS, which is NatWest's sister bank. So I can continue to get their 6.17, I think it's 6.17% interest, but I'll be starting from scratch. So again, it's taken me years and years and years and years and years again until I get to that £5,000 limit. But yeah, that's so some regular saving admin. So that was a big win for me. How about you?
Very good. So I me and my boyfriend bought our Christmas tree on Sunday.
Very
Can
nice
you
it
see
is
it?
too. Okay, if you're watching on YouTube right now, you'll see the corner of it behind Amelia.
Yeah, so really excited to get it. We got it from the same place as we got it from last year, which is, you know, like when you have outside, I mean, it was outside like a Turkish deli,
Yeah.
just like a man selling Christmas trees. And we got it from him last year. But my goodness, let's talk about Christmas price inflation. My
Oof.
word. So last year, my boyfriend got one that was far too big for our house. I mean, it was bigger than a tall man. And I think it was about 30 or 35 pounds. I said to him, look, lovely, thank you, but it's too big for our house. Let's not do that this year. So this year we have a smaller one, which we put on a box, but it was the same price as the big one last year. And I was like, oh, wow. Like, I mean, I don't know the measurements, but yeah, the price has really increased. And when I went along the seafront, they were selling Christmas trees, and the starting price for these squat little Christmas trees was £50, which is
Wow.
low. So we cut the cost of that. But I also want to ask you, we're seeing a lot of the big boxes of Christmas chocolates out at the moment, the Quality Streets, those kind of things. Popped into a little cute sweet shop in Brighton the other day. Guess how much they were selling a tin of Quality Streets for?
Oh, I have no idea. I mean, I know the supermarkets are doing a lot of special offers right now and sort of, cutting the cost there. Probably as a loss leader to get you in store, but no idea what a full price would be.
I mean, I think this was 3 times full price. It was £16.99. Yeah, I was like, I don't know what's so special about these chocolates, but I'm never coming in here again. Thank you. But all of this, I mean, Christmas is kind of coming up. I just have one of those memories for prices when it comes to, Christmas trees and those kind of things. But there has been some stuff in the news about, Christmas prices. So which brings us on to our first story around, the food. The food is like a significant part of every Christmas for lots of different people. And what this story was saying is that the price of a Christmas dinner is up 6.5%. So for your average 4-person family, it's going to cost you £32.57. This is to do with the increased vegetable prices. So we're looking at potatoes. The price of potatoes has gone up 16.4%, and there's been an almost 15% increase in the price of carrots. Turkey also up around 8.5%. However, we are coming towards Christmas, and we see this all the time with the supermarkets slashing the price. So it's not all lost. don't just hang your head in despair because it is getting expensive, because now is the time that we are going to see these discounts in store. So Aldi made an announcement this week where they're going to be selling bags of vegetables for 15p. They do this every year. It's brilliant. And turkeys starting at £5.90, which I'm a bit like, not suspicious, but I've been in
Yeah.
Aldi. There's one near me. I have never found, I don't think I've even found a turkey. It's always sold out by the time I get there. So there will be discounts in store. They're hoping that, other supermarkets are also going to compete, and they're going to be slashing the cost of their kind of Christmas trimmings as well. So yeah, it has got expensive, but all is not lost. We can get, a well-priced Christmas dinner on the table.
Yeah, I always find it when they sort of advertise and they're shouting about these sort of cheap turkey or throughout the year, the cheap chicken or whatever it is. I'm always a little bit, is that really something you should be celebrating when it's sort of so cheap? You're like, well, what really has gone on in the kind of the farming, and then what else is going on? You're injecting them with water to bulk it up, all this kind of stuff. You're not really getting any kind of quality for that. I know not everyone has the luxury to be able to kind of bring ethics into their meat buying, and I absolutely understand that. But I do think there's a level between sort of not going for the top range and then really, really, really cheap ones. I think there's an element, even if you forget the ethics of it, there's certainly an element of like you get what you pay for. So just be a bit careful of those if you can find one in the shops, as you say. And on the veg as well, I think next week we'll probably give a roundup of the supermarkets that are doing those discounted vegetable ones, because a lot of them do it most years. But I always find as well that, and you can't guarantee on this one, right? So if there's something you absolutely need to have in terms of veg, then you're going to need to plan for it. But I often find if you go in on Christmas Eve to the big supermarkets like Asda, and I think some of the others do it as well, they're often giving it away. I remember last year I went in and I got a bag of carrots, bag of parsnips, and a big crown of broccoli. Hadn't intended to, they were giving it away because it was Christmas Eve and it needed to go. Because remember, they close on Christmas Day. A lot of the supermarkets close on Boxing Day as well. And they obviously had massively overstocked it. Of course, if they've reduced how much they've got in store, then that's not going to happen again. But it's certainly worth having a look. And you can, in fact, you can parboil a lot of these things and freeze them, so you can use them for a later date, if not just then as well. But yeah, and the other thing, you talked about the chocolate being really expensive at the corner shop. And that reminded me of something else, just quickly before I get on to the next story to talk about. Be really careful buying stamps in corner shops or other kind of smaller independent places, because you might not realize this, that not every store has to sell stamps at the kind of set price. There's a set price for a first class stamp, set price for a second class stamp. That's only the case if you buy it from the post office or from a supermarket or someone like WH Smith's, who are official retailers. A lot of these other shops, they can go to a cash and carry, they can buy a box of the stamps and they can sell it for whatever they want. And I found a good few years ago now, but it was like the massive hike in prices they put on those stamps. And it's really crazy. And most people don't really know how much a stamp is anymore because of all the price hikes, because it doesn't even say it on the stamp anymore. So you think, oh, really? That's how much 12 stamps cost? No, so be really careful when you are doing this. Buy them ideally from an official retailer, because then at least you are going to be getting it at the right price. And don't forget as well, second class, you've still got time to send cards or anything else, second class post. The deadline for this is next Wednesday, I think. So that is going to be much cheaper for you to do that. So get your skates on now, plan, buy the stamps, second class, get your cards written, send them off, so then meet that second class post, and that'll also save you a ton of cash. Christmas, though, hasn't stopped now on this one. I've got another one to talk about here. So Amelia and I get a load of press releases every single day from all sorts of brands and businesses. And most of the time they go straight into the delete. There's nothing in their interest in them. And half the time I don't even read them. But there's one that Amelia did actually read this one and shared it with me. And this bank that shall remain nameless offered some tips on Secret Santa. So I think, you probably agree with me, Amelia, Secret Santa can be a good thing, right? It helps avoid overspending. You set a price cap a lot of the time. So it's like, no more than £10, £15, £20, whatever it is in your group that does Secret Santa, you set a price cap. So that helps. And of course, you're buying just one gift, right? Rather than buying many gifts. So one gift rather than 5, whatever it is. So again, that really helps some people bring costs down. So I'm a fan of Secret Santa when it's done right. But this expert in this press release went on to suggest that you can even bring costs down by saying the Secret Santa gifts all have to be bought at a pound shop. And that to me is when Secret Santa goes completely wrong, when it is about buying something for the sake of buying something. If you're saying you have to buy it from a pound shop, well, unless there's something that someone really needs from a pound shop, I mean, again, it's just for the sake of it, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I saw it and I was like, "Ooh, okay." I was like, I get it. When we come to these sort of Christmas money saving tips, I've seen a lot of this Secret Santa suggestion for members of the family for the reasons that you've said. And this one, I was like, "Oh, I know what they're trying to do. They're trying to differentiate the tip, so, it looks like they've given it some thought rather than, just do a Secret Santa with your family." But I was like, I would rather, if this was a suggestion in my family, I would rather, don't waste your money on tat that I don't want, give it to charity, or don't bother at all. I mean, I'm not that fussed. Like, if money is so tight that we are taking these measures and we do have to kind of set these limits, let's respect ourselves and each other by not doing it just for the sake of it. I mean, I've had a really good kind of take on Secret Santa. In the last company I worked for, we had a Christmas party and we set up, you can do it online, set up like wish lists. So it automatically links to Amazon or wherever, and you set the limit, or whoever set it up set the limit, and I think it was £10. And then you had a list of loads of different options. You could select the kind of things that you want. Some people had like sweets, some people had, face cream or all those kind of things. And then when it came to you choosing for your person, you could pick from the things that they had already expressed interest in. So they were going to get something they wanted, regardless, which I thought was good. It kind of took a bit of the excitement and fun out of it, where it's like, oh,
Yeah.
you're kind of telling me what to buy you. But I guess I can't be pleased with any of it.
Yeah, I guess, I mean, most people may already have had their Secret Santa at work, but if you haven't, certainly worth, I think, just having some kind of conversation with whoever's organising it and seeing if something like that can be put into place. Last year, and I've gone about a decade before that, I tried to make this a thing, right? Give or gift. It didn't take off, but the idea was that you would in your workplace be able to say, look, I would like a gift, or I would like you to give to charity on my behalf. And you could choose your charity, or we partner with certain charities that would work from. Because I thought that was a great idea for people who don't want things to go to waste. But yeah, for whatever reason, it didn't really sort of take off. So we haven't sort of carried on with it. But I still think that idea is still really, really solid, because it's still about the thought that counts. And if you want a fiver, £10, whatever it is, going to Trussell Trust, going to shelter, whoever it might be, instead of just some tat, and that's not a bad option. And if you don't know what to buy for the person, you're the Santa. I mean, I don't think you can go wrong with, like, as long as someone's not diabetic, I don't think you can go wrong with like a box of chocolates and things like that. So just try
Or
to
£10
avoid.
worth of scratch cards.
Yeah, yeah. As long as they're not got a gambling thing, then that's perfectly
Indeed.
good as well. There you go, Secret Santa. I mean, let us know as well if you love Secret Santa, or whether you think it can be a bit of a waste of cash as well. We'd love to hear that. Right, what's next, Amelia?
Right, moving on from Christmas to something very different. So it's been a big year around this car loan scandal. You've probably seen it in the headlines. I've kind of been following it. And the latest is that it's a mess. So the latest article was like, oh my goodness, there is so much to it, but people are suggesting it could be as big as the PPI scandal. So what's happened this year is, in January, the FCA launched an investigation into discretionary commission arrangements, which are known as DCAs. And these are basically associated with car loans. And it was looking at the specific period between 2007 and 2021. So DCAs is where lenders give car dealerships and brokers the power to set interest rates on car loans and earn higher commission along the way. And these were actually banned by the FCA in 2021 because of concerns that they were incentivizing dealers to charge higher interest rates. So it must have had some evidence to launch this investigation in the first place, that things were kind of, not quite right. So meanwhile, last month, there was a test case. So this was in October, against the Close Brothers and the First Rand Bank, which revealed other types of hidden commission within car finance. And the court ruled it was actually unlawful for these two lenders to have paid a secret commission to car dealers without borrowers' knowledge. So this is big. And when these kind of things happen, it's, oh God, is this setting a precedent? Are there going to be millions of people coming forward who've had similar experiences? But essentially, it could be. So millions of people could potentially claim compensation. And the FCA is saying the average amount could be around £1,000. So it's a significant sum. And if we look at this area, 80 to 90% of new cars are bought using finance. So the advice at the moment is, if you're not happy with the way your finance deal was sold to you, make a complaint to your lender. And if you don't get the response that you're hoping for, you can always take it to the financial ombudsman. And specifically with these secret commissions, this is kind of going to be looking at people who bought a car in a certain period of time. So if you bought a car on finance before January 2021, when the DCAs were banned, and your finance deal had this discretionary commission arrangement included, but it wasn't made clear, you've got a good basis for a claim.
Yeah, I think what's really important here as well is to do this yourself as well. And we had it with PPI, didn't we? With all these firms going around saying, oh, well, I'll do this for you, no win, no fee kind of thing. But then if you did win, they take a cut. You didn't need to do it. It's all quite simple. There are resources out there to help you do this yourself. So certainly if you were impacted by that or think you were impacted, it's definitely worth putting some kind of claim in. And I've got another story now, which is also around compensation. This is around South West Trains. So Money Saving Expert reporting that you may have been overcharged if you got a South West train out of London between, now bear with me, right? It's a long time ago, 1st of October 2015 and the 20th of August 2017. And not only did you do that, you had a TfL travel card at the same time. Basically, there's a good chance, if that was the case, you paid too much for those fares. So the courts have decided that £25 million in compensation needs to be distributed. And obviously, it was difficult to sort of know if you had even made a journey in that time, let alone actually have evidence for it. So there is a way that you can claim if you have no evidence. You set at £5 per journey and you claim for up to 6 journeys. So 30 quid at maximum, you'll be able to get there. If you have either the ticket or the TfL rail card proof of purchase, then that increases £5 per journey up to £100. And if you've made more journeys than that and you have proof of both of them, then it's unlimited. You can just claim for each one of those that you can prove that that was the case, that you were overcharged. Now, it's so long ago, I imagine it's really before the time that much of our booking, the way now we book trains, so much of it is done online via apps, right? So we've got the evidence for it, still have it. That might be the case going back to 2015 to 2017, but I think it'd be quite hard for most people to have it. But certainly we're having a look to see if you can do that, because that will help you potentially get more money if you did do this on a regular basis. This is your journey, you're doing it every single day, commuting, whatever it might be. Because the caveats are that MSE reports that it's set at that cap of £25 million in compensation, but some of that's going to go to the lawyers. If more people claim than expected, then obviously that's going to be an issue. So you might get less than that £5 per journey. That's just the initial kind of outlay and the initial guidelines that they've given. And also remember that if you think, oh, I'll just claim for 6 journeys at £5, get myself 30 quid. I mean, that is fraud. So I would not suggest that you go and do that. This is for people who actually were using that route in those times with those particular conditions. And you've got a deadline to apply for this, which is the 10th of January 2025.
Yeah, I think with this, I mean, I'm amazed that, the backdatedness of this claim. It's amazing that, the work that's being done to really hold companies to account years in the future. So I think that's amazing, like from the campaigning side. And I think with this, despite it being a long time ago, if you have got a travel card, you probably were, as you said, making that journey quite regularly anyway. So it is, you'd be able to find it, well, to hopefully remember, if you were working in kind of London or outside of it, for making that journey at that time. So I like to think, because it is, that kind of those kind of people who are making those regular journeys, it will be quite hopefully straightforward to make that claim. But on, train companies ripping people off, we have just updated the delay and repay guide. It's up on the website. It's really useful. I've got quite obsessed with delay repay. Oh my goodness, like I did it the other day and I got really excited. I was like, you know what, I think I've qualified. I didn't, because the train was 14 minutes late.
Oh, I hate that. Yeah. The worst, isn't it? You're willing it just to be a little bit later.
I know.
And then just sneak in before the compensation deadline.
I was still inconvenienced, but just not enough by 1 minute.
I've got another travel story to share with you now as well. I'm not going to spend too much time on this, but just you might see this kind of over the coming days popping up a lot on social media and news. This is because Whizz Air have brought back their kind of unlimited travel, all-you-can-fly subscription pass. They ran it in the summer, and I think we spoke about it then as well, and it sold out really quickly. There were a limited number of them, but they're now back on sale. It costs £534, more or less. It's in euros, but you can convert it to pounds, or better, you probably get a slightly lower price if you pay with a fee-free card in euros. That is a lot of money. But if you travel a lot, you might be thinking, wow, that could actually save me a fair bit of cash. But before you rush in and buy it, just make sure, this is my kind of urge you to do, read all the actual terms and conditions. I had a quick look at it again. It has changed slightly since last time. But for example, you need to pay an extra €9.99, which is roughly about £8.25 for each leg that you book. So that all you can fly isn't everything. You've still got to pay more on top of that. You get carry-on luggage, but you've got to pay extra for checked luggage. It's also only available if flights are available. So you might really want to go to this place, but if that flight is sold out or they're just not listing it for whatever reason, you can't do it. And you can only book 3 days in advance. So this is really about spur of the moment destinations, because then 3 days in advance, well, that might be fine. Let's wait and see what's available when we're traveling. But then how do you know where you're going? What hotels are going to be like? Other things. So I think this is definitely one of those things that is not going to be a money-saving thing. You'd be better off shopping around, using different airlines, planning ahead, but it is there. So that's my warning for you guys. Just read all those terms and conditions. So if you are interested, you know exactly how it's going to work.
So next story, moving on to mortgages. So this is quite interesting because I think, as we're moving towards, the country's targets of net zero, so that involves cutting carbon emissions, we are going to see some changes in the housing market potentially. So this latest news story is about Halifax and how it's starting to use energy performance certificates when calculating how much it will lend you for a mortgage. So the energy performance certificates, or EPC, we see that, when you buy a house, you get this. It tells you how energy efficient your house is. And the suggestion is that Halifax could offer a small increase on the maximum loan to people buying a more energy efficient house and less to those who are buying a house with a lower rating. So this could potentially create issues for those selling these older, more drafty, less energy efficient houses, because they might have to drop the price if the buyer can't borrow enough to buy the house, or they might be put off selling altogether because of fear that they won't get the price they want. And, also on the other side, you've got the buyer who, might be then told that because they're buying, a certain type of house, they cannot get the mortgage that they need. So there's all of these potential problems. We haven't seen any of yet. It's gonna, happen. I think they're launching this new kind of system next week. So we will see. But I do think this talk of energy efficiency, especially when it comes to property, is going to become more of a focus in the house buying and selling process, which is interesting because there's been a lot of criticism about these energy performance certificates and how they're confusing for everyone and not particularly accurate.
Yeah, ours was a complete nonsense. It was very old and didn't really make any sense. And it's kind of like, well, it's still okay. They weren't going to do it again. So yeah, I think they need to get that in gear first of all, don't they, before this can have any material impact on people's ability to buy houses. But like you say, it is just one provider right now. But yeah, I know you've been following this one for a while, so I guess we'll see how it pans out. I've got another energy story for you, and this was big news actually. This could be a big story actually. This came to recording this on Thursday. This came out this morning, and this relates to your energy bills themselves. And Ofgem has said that by next winter, all energy suppliers will have to offer a tariff which has zero or low standing charges. Now, I'm sure everyone, we've all got over the last few years having to understand our energy bills so much more than we used to. But remember, standing charge is the amount that you get charged every single day, a daily charge for your gas and for your electricity, regardless of whether you actually use any power that day. You're still getting charged for this. And that can mean some people who have very, very low usage, like deliberately so, consciously so, or sometimes they might just, the only gas that they've got is for the hob. They don't actually have gas central heating or anything like that. those kind of things, they're still getting charged, even though they're not using it. So this is the kind of way around it. So obviously it means in return, if you do move and you have to consciously move onto a low or no standing charge tariff, your actual energy usage units, they will go up. So they'll suddenly become more expensive. So for most people, it should be about the same, right? If you're an average energy user anyway, your bill wouldn't change too much. This is really about those who are very, very low usage on one or both of their type of gas or electricity. So I think it's good news. We'll have to wait and see how it works, how it pans out, how easy it is for people to do this. But yeah, I think that's really good news. Going into another year of high energy bills.
Yeah, when I was reading that story, I was just like, oh my God, it becomes so complicated, doesn't it? When you think about, I mean, on the surface, the standing charges, it does seem unfair. Like, you haven't even switched anything on and you're already being charged this flat rate. But then when they were describing, what the standing charge contributes to and how we might have to move into this two-tier system where, if there's no standing rate, then the unit price is going to have to increase for some people. It's going to, again, it's going to potentially be messy for a little while as they work it out. But hopefully, yeah, it's moving towards a fairer system.
Next up, I want to give a bit of a shout out to some of you over in our Facebook group. If you're not already a member, please do come and join us. becleverwithyourcash.com/community is the short URL that will take you through, and you can apply to join, ask questions, all that kind of stuff. But every week we're asking you what your hits and misses are, what's gone well, what's not gone so well. And we thought it's been a while since we've done this in the pod, but it'd be a good time to give you guys a shout out. So first up, we've got Lewis. He said he applied for the nationwide current account to switch, but he didn't get sent out the debit card or the account details in time, and he needed all that to complete the whole process before that sort of eligibility period expired. They've denied responsibility, so he's obviously put it in. I mean, you could try putting a complaint into the financial ombudsman there, Lewis, see what happens. However, he did say that he's got 4 out of 5 successful bank switches this year, so it isn't that bad. And then we've got Katie. And Katie says she just got a £30 gift voucher from Amazon for opening up their credit card. Even though she won't use the card, she's got that gift voucher. Husband, he got 50 quid. That'll be because he would have had the previous Amazon credit cards. You get a slightly boosted offer there. All helps with the Christmas gifts. Yeah, absolutely does, Katie.
I've got one from Paul, who opened a 1-year fixed rate ISA paying monthly interest on October the 14th for both himself and his wife with Charter Bank. I assume he did the admin to help his wife rather than opening up too. So the rate was 4.45%, and he had this idea of transferring mature ISAs into this account. However, he kept an eye on this, and when he checked, he noticed that Charter had increased the rate to 4.49%, which is a small amount, he acknowledges, but worth £50 a year to us. So he cancelled the original application and opened new ones at the better rate. So this is great because you usually have a 14-day cooling off period when you apply for ISAs before you kind of have to, you're stuck in it. So this is really good. And we do talk about these minimal differences in interest rate. Sometimes it's not worth the kind of extra admin or the switching or those kind of things with bank accounts. But this is great. If you didn't have to lock in, you had that cooling off period so you could make a different decision and you could benefit from that. That's what we like to hear.
Absolutely. Don't forget, if you want to find all the best rates for savings, head to becleverwithyourcash.com/savings. Amelia, myself, and the team, we're in there twice a day, making sure the top rates are always the ones listed there. Should we do deals?
Yes.
Our first one for you is one to keep an eye out for. On Friday, cashback site Quidco is doing a double cashback day where most, not all, but most rates are doubled. Again, don't buy something just because the cashback rate is double, but it might be, if you're buying something anyway, a good opportunity to get hold of something. Also worth looking at some of those ones where it's a set amount for an offer, like Disney Plus. Sometimes it's 10 or 15 quid. Potentially that means it could be 20 or 30 quid. So worth having a look at that. Although, as we'll come back to in a minute, that might not be the best place to get Disney Plus from. Some streaming ones for you when it comes to music. Now, Spotify, they are currently running, they do this 2 or 3 times a year, but a kind of welcome back deal. It gives you 3 months for the price of 1. So if you're an ex-Spotify Premium customer and you cancelled before the end of October 2024, then go into your account or check your emails. You should see that you are eligible for this promotion. Now, sadly, if you have taken a similar offer in the last 2 years, you won't be able to get it this time, but it's a great way to come back and have music over the festive season if Spotify is your bag. Or Even better than that, there are actually 3-month free trials right now with Apple Music and Amazon Music Unlimited. So you might rather give those a go and pay nothing at all. And incidentally, Amazon Music Unlimited now includes Audible. So if you're already subscribed to a music service and Audible, well, you can combine them into one payment as well. So that's another big money saver for you.
And back to the Christmas vibes. So my first deal is from IKEA. So if you wear a festive outfit to an IKEA store, so a Christmas jumper, some reindeer ears, I don't know, a Santa hat, you can get a voucher which gives you £10 off £50 spend. Now, this is running between the 13th and the 15th of December. So starts on Friday, ends 5 p.m. on Sunday. And the idea is you'll get the voucher and you have to spend it while you're there. So the voucher ends, basically when the festivities end for IKEA. So a great hack has returned to get Disney Plus for less. So essentially you have to buy another service, which you might not want or use, but it will cut the cost of the service that you do want. So if you get Uber One, it's $49.99 a year. You will get Disney Plus Standard worth $89.90 a year. So we wrote about this a few months ago. We thought it was going to end, I think it was last month, but it's back until January the 31st. And finally, Odeon. So for cinema lovers, you can get 20% off a Odeon gift card at Tesco until the 22nd of December. Now, this applies to these e-gift cards between £5 and £250, and the gift cards last for 2 years. But yeah, as I said, it's not going to be around forever. You haven't got that long. So yeah, if it's for you, get it.
Yeah, and what I love about those is you can stack them with other things like Meerkat Movies or the likes of Amazon and Octopus giving you 2 tickets for £9 or 2 tickets for £10. And you're basically bringing the price down even more. So if you're an Odeon fan, combination of those is really going to save you some money. That is it for today's episode. Thank you so much for joining us. If you do want more information about all of those deals Amelia and I have just gone through, or the news stories we discussed at the top of the show, you will find links over at becleverwithyourcash.com.
We'll be back with another podcast on Tuesday morning. So see you all then. Bye-bye.
Cheers.